I'm taking a selfie. And now I'm gonna log into the app with my passcode. I'm choosing the My Photos album to hide my selfie in. Now the album is asking if I want to delete the original. I choose yes, and my picture now disappears from my phone's actual camera roll. But my selfie is still stored in this fake calculator. My colleague showed me this AI generator tool online where within a matter of seconds you can clone your voice. So I took the script off of the Georgetown Police's Facebook page and I recorded, "Grandpa, it's Danielle, I need help." Threw it into the AI generator and here's how it sounds. "Grandpa, it's Danielle. I need help." I am holding the same model stun gun police say 27-year-old Mary Cirillo admits she used on her little boy. In fact, Frankfort police say at one time she used an electrical shock like this on her child for about 5 seconds. Master Cubine says that oftentimes what is more effective than using your fist to punch someone is actually to use the heel of your hand to strike. When doing this, he also says it's important to integrate breath work and to use powerful words like no. So when you're striking, it makes it more effective for you to get away. Kentucky has just been rated as the state with the second highest. This is where Rosa Rowland's house was, but as you'll see, the flood waters picked it up and carried it all the way up the property. Her aunt Martha Dre told me that by the time rescue crews got here, they actually had to saw the house in half. And when they went looking for her, they didn't find her. In fact, Martha says Rosa drowned inside the home, but her body was found a half a mile up West Headquarters Road. Cafe manager Jeannie Davis was clearing out the storage closet. When she removed some shelves, she noticed a door that she had never seen before. When she opened it up, she discovered this cell, and her and all of her co-workers were amazed at what they found. Another huge bonus to having this electric bus is the amount of money that it's going to save. John Halsey says that an average diesel bus costs about $350 to fill up the entire tank and only gets about 8 miles to the gallon. But this electric bus only costs $20 to charge, and on a full charge, it can drive up to 138 miles total. It's natural for us to think that masking is going to be the safest bet to protect us against this poor air quality. But Dr. David Menino says that the tiny fine particles in the air from the wildfire are actually small enough to get through masks, so this really won't make a difference. There were more women than men who sought help for clinical depression. Also, young adults ages 18 to 24 sought more help for depression versus adults 65 and older. Overall, only 18% of those who were diagnosed with clinical depression actually sought the recommended treatment. The study also found that depression was most prevalent among Caucasians. Happy Oaks Day from Churchill Downs. You know, today's theme, everyone has been thinking pink. And it's not just the Phillies that have been stealing the spotlights down on the racetracks, but it's also all the men and women in their pink attire. Winchester police say they're seeing kids as young as 2nd and 3rd graders getting cell phones now. Whether they're 7 or 17, kids are getting better at hiding things on their phones.
Hidden apps, Calculator Plus is a big one. It's a calculator that looks like a calculator, but if your child has 2 calculators on the phone, I promise you they don't really love math. They just put in an equation, it could be 4 plus 4, and it opens up a vault of photos and videos that they've stored they don't want anybody to find.
I had to see for myself how this app works. I'm taking a selfie. And now I'm gonna log into the app with my passcode. I'm choosing the My Photos album to hide my selfie in. Now the album is asking if I want to delete the original. I choose yes, and my picture now disappears from my phone's actual camera roll. But my selfie is still stored in this fake calculator. It's about more than being sneaky. Kentucky law says it might be a felony.
Say a lot of times these youth that are dating may have photos of one another unclothed. Even being in possession of that on their phone is a felony, and it runs the risk of getting a 20-year sex offender registry.
Sergeant Monty Corbett says minors think they won't get in trouble because of their age, but these types of felonies apply even to teenagers, and their phones always leave a trace. This doesn't just go for pornography, it goes for other crimes like cyberbullying too.
So we talk to a lot of kids and let them know that your words have meaning. Even if you're typing them, you can be found. You're not anonymous.
Winchester Police also reminds parents to check the games on their kids' phones.
We tell parents that If you haven't met that person's parents that they're playing with, probably shouldn't let your kids be playing with them.
To protect your child better, Winchester PD says maybe try giving your child an Apple Watch instead of a phone. But if you get your child a phone, look up parent monitoring apps and set up alerts.
ARC's a very popular one. My child types in suicide, I want to be alerted. If my child types in pornography, I want to be alerted.
In Winchester, Danielle Miskell, Fox 56 News. Let's look at this through the eyes of a healthcare provider.
I actually see this as something good that providers are actually catching depression in people that have it.
Julie Sorrell of UK says she wasn't surprised by the number of Kentuckians diagnosed with depression. But the key word is diagnosed, meaning there were probably more. Here's another positive takeaway she points out.
The other thing that happened in 2020 in Kentucky that I think is really good is that we very rapidly shifted to telemedicine and teletherapy. And I think not every state was fortunate enough that allowed providers to do that. And so that's another reason that in 2020, we might have started having more people in the Commonwealth who are diagnosed with depression.
Here's some more interesting findings from the CDC report. There were more women than men who sought help for clinical depression. Also, young adults ages 18 to 24 sought more help for depression versus adults 65 and older. Overall, only 18% of those who were diagnosed with clinical depression actually sought the recommended treatment. The study also found that depression was most prevalent among Caucasians.
Women, kind of when they're struggling, it comes out as sadness and trouble sleeping and difficulties with appetite and guilt and suicidal ideation, perhaps. And for men, that struggle is something that they tend to self-medicate.
Sorrell says she's encouraged that children and young adults are willing to talk to therapists about their mental health. She adds that both racial and economic inequality plays a part in why mostly Caucasians seek help for depression.
It's not surprising to me that people who are not white are not seeking help, because in their communities they've heard, like, well, they're not going to help you. They're just going to say that you're trouble.
In Lexington, Danielle Miskell, Fox 56 News. Take a look at these two buses. They look identical. Let's start the engines.
The bus is running right now.
The difference between the two is that one is your traditional diesel bus. The other is the first electric school bus in Kentucky.
Over a year ago, we learned about the federal grants that were coming out, and we thought it'd be a good fit for our school system. Our area being the Red River Gorge, and wanted to keep the place green.
The school district's director of transportation will be the first Kentuckian to drive the bus on the first day of school.
I would have never thought 23 years ago when I first started and we was in these old diesel buses that we would ever see electric buses.
Let's pop the hood.
A regular diesel engine doesn't have the massive power steering motor.
That it seemed to have a little more power taking off than the diesel bus.
Let's take a ride. Another huge bonus to having this electric bus is the amount of money that it's going to save. John Halsey says that an average diesel bus costs about $350 to fill up the entire tank and only gets about 8 miles to the gallon. But this electric bus only costs $20 to charge, and on a full charge, it can drive up to 138 miles total. Wolfe County had a 1 out of 60 chance of winning this bus, and they did by the luck of a lottery draw. It's worth $400,000. A traditional bus runs $150,000, but the cost of education is priceless.
And also to model for our students. You know, it's one thing to talk about being greener and helping our environment, but it's another thing, it's very important to show action to our students.
The school district got a second grant to help pay for the charging station. Now for the next year, Wolfe County will be tasked with logging data on how much energy was used and how much the maintenance costs were. It's information that could be used to bring more electric buses to Kentucky. In Wolfe County, Danielle Miskell, Fox 56 News.